Rodney, what are you doing?
What's going on, Gary? How's it going?
Man, it's going good. I see Jim Lauer is watching. What's up, Jim?
Jim Lauer to the front.
Jim Lauer. Jim
Yes,
from
sir.
holding
Yes,
down.
sir.
He's holding down the north end of the state up in Salina.
I bet it's a little cooler up there. It got a little cold down, or it got a little warm here today.
Man, he can send down some cool air.
Yeah.
There's Troy.
There's Troy.
Mustang boys.
Mopar man.
What's going on, Troy? You hanging in your garage tonight?
Heck yeah.
Chilling with a beverage.
Be hanging in the garage. Yeah, heck yeah, with a frosty adult beverage.
I got me some tea tonight. Sweet tea.
Yeah. Sweet tea. Nice,
yeah.
Nice.
Got the air conditioner on.
Yep. Same.
It says it's 73, but it's on its way to 68. See where it is.
I'm sitting at 72 myself.
There's Shannon. Hi, guys. Daniel Lloyd, Emily Lloyd. Daniel must have, I bet this is a tag in Emily. You just can't see that it's a tag. There's Doug Perry. Hey, guys.
Hold on just a second, Gary.
Okay.
Grab something real quick. I forgot.
Okay. You grab Ginger. Ginger likes to hang out. Troy says, yes, sir. Got me a nice new tequila drink and done with the yard work. Good job, Troy. I got me a good yard girl that takes care of my yard. And it's supposed to rain again. I think like Tuesday through the end of the week, I think they said. If it happens, we'll see. But while we get that good rain, we'll sure take advantage of the awesome looking yard and the free water. Makes the yard look nice. The grass really likes the good rain. Who else we got going on here? Who else is on? Give us a shout. Rod went to grab something. I don't know where he went or what he's doing. But tonight's going to be cool, man. We're going to talk to Craig Ondrick. We was chatting a little bit right before the show started, and it's going to be great. If you guys don't know Craig, you're going to know him a little more here tonight. It's going to be a fun talk with Craig here after a bit.
Cool. I had a special delivery I want to show everybody in a little bit.
And, there's Matt Ray. What's up, Matt?
What's up?
Yeah, cool. I don't know where you went. It's like you're done. See you later.
I know, where'd he go?
Oh, Jim said you probably went to get an ice cold beverage.
Ice cold beverage.
Ice cold beverage. Eric Wilson, what's up, buddy? Eric Wilson, remember Eric?
Oh yeah,
right, from Flying H.
Heck
man,
yeah.
I can't wait to go back there later this year.
I know. I got it on the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
There's
how's your week, Gary?
Good. Hello, Amy Music.
Hi, Amy.
Jim Robinson. What's up, everyone? Hi, Jim and Amy.
Jim.
Man, week was good.
Mocan?
I hope so. Man,
that'd be cool.
That would. See Jim and Tim and the crew.
Heck yeah.
That would be awesome. Jim, let us know. Are we going to see you? Let us know. Yeah, man, I've just been, since I kicked my car out of here, I've been working on some little garage projects, trying to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple Fridays ago, you and I went to Salina to do some stuff.
Yes.
We got a couple pictures of that.
We got to check out a new device, a new machine.
And, yes.
It looked like too about the invoice that we both received paid for that.
Probably a really small piece of it.
Yeah, it looked like to me, when he was counting all the zeros of that, and I'm just like, well, that's my bill, Gary's bill. It was all right there. So
our bill maybe just paid for the paint job on the machine. I don't know. It was a nice piece.
Yeah. Amy's got a question for you.
Dang, Amy. Are you getting
she
it?
knows. She's smart. She's paying attention.
Well, I guess if you want it to be fast, it needs to be white, right?
White and with polished wheels, apparently, because we're going to show something later. I was putting 2 and 2 together about a little Maverick. Remember? When it was in Key Shop, what wheels, what color? Inner circle, what wheels, what color? I'm just saying.
This is getting to be a big picture, right?
You can't make it. You can't make it up. I heard Troy Aves is going to get some polished wheels.
Polished wheels?
Paint it white with the black stripe.
Man.
Yeah.
Just be a whole herd of white cars.
There you go. Amy's on you.
She's on to me. She's going to have it all figured out, and then I won't have any surprise at all. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see.
Nothing to see. We did see a little white car take a ride today. Hate to see that.
Oh, man. Jason Hord's new car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrible.
Yeah.
But he walked away. He got beat up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think something about a broken rib, maybe some lung damage or whatever, but sure could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Hate to see that. There's Tanner Blueball on YouTube. Are you serious?
Tanner, what's up, Tanner? Hi, dudes. What's going on,
Tanner? Holy cow.
There's my buddy Tim Alt. Evening, guys. What's up, Tim from Amarillo?
That's right.
Amarillo, hello. Tim will get that reference. Amarillo, hello. little Larry King reference. Houston, hello. Yeah, we would leave work in my Pinto from Great Plains up in Solana, and we worked the night shift. And on the way home, Larry King Live was about the only thing that the radio would catch. So we'd listen to Larry King Live on the way home. So,
I cannot wait till I interview you and we can talk about that Pinto in your first car. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
As soon as you get racing and win an event, we're going to put you in the hot seat.
Man, I had 2 Pintos. My first car was a Pinto, and I got rid of it and got some other stuff. Then I wanted a little work car, and my grandma happened to have a Pinto, and I bought it from her, another station wagon. So me and Tim would drive that back and forth to work at Great Plains. We lived together, and we just drive it to work. We worked the same shift. So
that's a good time.
That was our little work turd.
I love it.
It was a lot of fun, man. Stupid little Pinto.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's David Maxon. Good evening, guys. Hey, David. Thanks for hanging.
That's a great story, man.
Oh, man, I got a ton of stories, dude. I'm just full of dumb stuff.
I bet that was in like your low 20s, you know?
Yes.
Low 20s, low 20s. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been early 90s stuff. 93.
Yeah.
Yep. 21, 22. Yeah.
There you go. Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah. Yep. What have you been doing since? What? Go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want you to me or me to you.
Oh, Tim's got a comment. There's a story there.
Our neighbors loved us. No, they didn't, Tim. It was a duplex. So duplex.
Yeah.
You can't escape your neighbors.
Yeah. That's
no,
funny.
It was cars, dude. It was race cars in the street nonstop.
There you go.
And not an awesome part of town either.
Sure. Now, before we get started, I got to give a shout out to Tracy Lynn.
Right.
Tracy, took some pictures at the Mad Race when we were there with Titans. And she hit me up yesterday. She's like, hey, I'm going to be in town. Can I drop those photos by? So they didn't make the show officially for your deal, but I wanted to brag about it.
Man, look at that.
I thought that was a great shot
cool
that she took. So want to plug Tracy just for a second. She does great work out there at Mad and does great pictures. And I'm sure out of the, 1,000 pictures she takes out there, if you want one, it's very easy to purchase one from her. She does great work. And so just want to thank Tracy, even special delivery, bringing it to me. I was so surprised.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I'll have to get that one framed up. So shout out to her. She does a good job.
And while you're giving Tracy a shout out, again, at the beginning of our show is our intro. She built that music and video intro at the beginning of our show. So she's full of talent in the media department.
She is very, very, very good. And we're lucky to have her out there and that sort of thing. And she quick turned these pictures for me and at little cost. And now I got something to go there. And speaking of people that are helping us, why don't we plug our sponsors?
That's right. Let's get there. Let me roll up here and do this. Let's shout out to these awesome partners we have here. Mid-America Dragway, Ultra Color Collision Repair, Mobile Recon, Mobile Detailing, Titans of 10.5, the fastest small tire series in the Midwest, Sandlin Iron and Metal, Auto Salvage, and Harry Street Carpet. Thank you to these awesome partners hanging out with us in 2025.
Nice job. Great plug. Great plug.
Great partners. Heck yeah.
Yeah. I see Chris Lovett watching. We got to see him yesterday at the track. He was out there with Andrew.
Right on. They should be about getting Andrew's car wrapped up pretty soon, I think.
I thought I saw a little blip on the interweb there of him kind of revving that up there. So that'd be cool. Be cool.
Here's Rex Welter. Rex is Craig's cousin, Rex from Washington State. Looking forward to hearing his stories. Man, thanks for hanging out. Heck yeah.
We got the cousin dialing in. Appreciate you joining the show, man. We got some great photos lined up for this. Greg sent some over, and then of course Gary, he's very good at pulling up some photos, snooping around. So I'm super excited to hear that story. We raced Greg once, right, at Flying H, at a Street Car Takeover last year or something, I want to say.
Man, dude, I don't remember. Did we?
I might be wrong. We'll have to ask him about that later. But I was thinking we did. Maybe it wasn't Flying H. Maybe it was something else, or maybe it wasn't Street Car Takeover. But he's super nice Firebird there.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I think it was. Was we parked on the upper level this time?
I think so.
Was that later in the year, that race?
Yeah, I think it might have been. But was it the Hooktober deal? I don't know.
Man, I don't remember. I kind of remember. I know Craig was parked down. I don't know what direction that was, but to the right of us, down at the end, I rode my golf cart down there. I saw him just for a minute, but he was there. I don't remember if we got in the lane with him.
Yeah, I don't either.
He was the driver. You don't remember driver?
I know. You know what I mean?
You didn't see tail lights of a Firebird in front of you?
I probably did. He probably had the slow tune up in it, so he'd give me a chance.
Oh, the 7-cylinder tune up?
He goes, this is just a little small block Ford. We'll just run it on 7 cylinders,
Yeah.
We'll save it for later, when we get into the final rounds. And
making you feel good.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway. But how was your week? Did you get we made a little trip down north, right? I was going to say down south, but we actually went north, didn't we?
Yeah, we went north.
Yeah, that was a good time. Last Friday. That seemed like forever ago.
Yeah, that was a Friday before this past Friday. Yeah, a week ago. Yeah.
23rd.
Yeah, the 23rd. We went and saw Marky Mark.
Dude, we're in June now. It's official.
I know.
Rip the calendar.
Yeah, hey, while we're talking about June, today's June 1st. Tomorrow is June 2nd. My anniversary being married to my awesome wife.
What? Woo! Are you serious? Congratulations.
June 2nd. That's right. 24 years.
24 years. All right.
24 plus 7.
Okay. I'm going to set my alarm. So 24 years plus 7 of dating or hanging out?
Yes. I had her in training for 7 years.
Oh, a little try before you buy. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I had to make sure she's all trained up real good.
Oh, who was training who?
I was training her.
Oh, okay. Because
she's not here. So.
She's not here right now. Yeah, because you're
right this minute.
Yeah. I understand. Well, I'm gonna set my alarm at 12:01 and send you a little happy anniversary to both of you, so I can be the first one. Yeah, that's about right, Devin Brown. He's got it going on. He knows what's up. Yeah.
Bless her heart. Yep. Yeah. I'm lucky she sticks around.
No, you guys are awesome.
Hi, Devin.
So remember I told you I'm going to ask you a question tonight? Remember that? I ain't ready to ask you.
I do. I remember.
I'm not ready to ask you yet because I'm going to put you on the spot. Like Devin Brown's always saying, you always put me on the spot, hot seat, not knowing anything, right? Last to know. And so where are you at? Yeah, exactly. I'm under the bus. And so I'm going to wait till we get rolling here. But
and then you're going to go, bam!
I'm going to hit at you with it.
Man.
And then one of the answers is going to might be, Tiffany said, nope.
She never says nope.
I know that.
Nope.
I know
she does. She does too. Never mind.
Uh-oh. What's up, Devin Brown?
Devin, what's up, fellas? Doug Perry, congrats, Gary. Thanks, Doug. Poor Tiffany. Poor Tiffany.
All right. 24 years. Woo, that's great, man. That's a good run. Keep it going.
It's been a long time. A lot of things have changed over the years. Our city, our location, our city, our house, all that stuff. Kids, little kids are now big kids.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, we went to see Mark.
Yeah, went up to see Mark. Let's see what we got here. Let's do a little pre-show.
We got a comment skipped in here. She's a trooper.
Yeah,
she sure is.
Yeah, she is.
She is. I got your stuff here.
Oh yeah, there's Marky Mark. He said, "Hey, come get this thing. Get it out of my way.
Come get this cute little Ford."
Yeah, get it out of my way. And so we ran up there and got that bad boy, and I was lucky enough to have the timing worked out perfect because I had this week off, so I was able to mess around in the garage and doing a little assembly on this new power plant. So it worked out great. But of course, Mark does great work. So I want to give him a shout out. As everyone knows, he helps Gary and I with our stuff, and also want to give a shout out right now to Chris Penny because I got this motor from him back, and I always remember the day because it was the day Trump got shot.
Yes,
is when
that's right.
That thing up.
Saturday, running it on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and so we went and picked it up in Winnebago, Missouri.
Dang. Lake Winnebago or something like that.
Yeah, and so we brought this thing home, and of course it was a nitrous setup for Chris, so we swapped it over, and Mark did some machine works. We changed some things out, but great shout out to him, and there it is going together. So like I said, I had the week off, so I'm just kind of doing the assembly on it, and I'm super excited about this deal and super happy the way everything turned out. And Mark.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
You're talking about Mark. So you've been into Mark for a few years now. He's done good work for you.
Yeah.
What would it do to your program if like he retired or if Mark wasn't in the picture? Well, how would that affect your racing program?
We talked about this offline, and I don't know, Gary. To be honest with you, I would probably have to call Calivas. I don't know. I'm just thinking about that, and the reason I like going to Salina is because it's a little drive for us, and we go up there and hang out, and we get to see things develop and go along. So this will be the third engine for Mark. He did the 400, and then he helped me with that 8.2 deck I had, and actually the 400 I got in the car now. He found it. That's right. He cold called me and was like, "Hey, I came across this all aluminum 400. Something you'd be interested?" And I go, "What heads are on it?" And he goes, "It's got the 7709 Victors." I was like, "Yeah, I'm interested." So that was on a Sunday. I went and got it on Tuesday, and so it's been great. And he's done a freshen up with it. And so, when we had Rich Frost on the show and Chris Penny was trying to push this one, and I texted him on the side, said, "Hang on after the show in the green room," and we picked it up the next weekend. And then I called Mark in between, and he's like, "Yeah, I think it's a good deal. Let's do it." So, and we're going to hold on to this one for a little bit, and we're going to race this 400 through the summer, and then going into the fall, we'll put it in September, October. There'll be some cool air coming in and all that good stuff.
Yep.
That's Troy giving me
Troy says, when you own a Pro Mod, when you have a spare engine.
Oh, no, it's not a spare. It's just another one. It's not a spare. It's just
it's another. Yeah. Potato.
We'll see how it runs. You know how it is too, Gary. You get something, it runs pretty decent, and then you decide to get something else, put a little money in it, it'll run the same. You know what I mean? That's the way it usually works. Yeah. Yeah. But
Chris Wilson has a shout. He says, "I can't wait to see Craig El Conquistador Ondrick and his awesome Camaro."
He's got a Camaro?
I think he's got a Camaro.
He's got a Camaro? I'll have to check that out.
That's what Chris says. Chris don't lie.
I have to check that out. But Mark does great work. You turned me on to Mark,
Yes, I did.
And I haven't looked back. And I think if he decides to retire, to go back to your question, we might have to vote on it. and there's 2 of us and 1 of him, so we can we'll just have a vote.
Yeah, we would be the go no go council.
Right, exactly.
No, because when he's done, I'm done.
Is that right?
I don't know how else to say it.
Well, he's only like 37, so we got a few more years. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good.
Cool, but
yeah, your engine looks good here. You're doing some assembly, man. That's a nice.
Running the valves, got the TNDs on here, and these are the GV2 heads, and yeah, I'm excited to see what it does. But appreciate all the work. Thanks for everybody that helped me. Cooks, Wilson Manifolds, BES, Mark, Jessel helped me with the belt drive. I did call Chris on that as well, and but everything's been running real well on that. So GRP, Diamond.
Yeah. Tony Whitmore says, let me borrow that.
He could break it in for me.
Yeah, he could have used it yesterday, right?
Last night. Right in that little 83. Slide right in. Yeah.
Dang.
We can run over to Keith's and get that little turbo and be ready to roll.
I saw it the other day. It's sitting on the shelf.
There you go. There you go. But,
yep. Looks good, man. I can't wait to see this in action later on this year.
Exactly. So,
it'll either be fun or frustrating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Did you see Tony? I'll break it in, all right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Shelly and Kurt Riffle says, please keep Jason Horde in prayers after a horrific accident. Glad he's okay. Yeah, we touched on that a little bit. He got beat up a little bit. Man, what a scary wreck, man.
Yeah. Glad he's okay. Glad he had a well-built machine around him.
Yeah.
Be able to walk away. And
Bielman's also built the Weens' Chevy 2 that we're going to see one of these days real soon. Oh, yeah. Tony says, I got all EFI and all ready and waiting.
See? There you go. See? And he only lives like a stone throw away, for real. He can ride a bicycle from house to house.
Yeah, you need to be like Elite Motorsports and lease your motors out. It'll be a lease program.
No.
You make
I'm
some
just
money.
trying to get by over here. You know, I'm
okay.
Like that going on.
I'm trying to make you some money.
Yeah.
David Maxon says Mark can't retire. My son is too young and he needs him to continue to build motors.
That's it. Right. See, Dave knows. That's awesome.
Brian Snyder says, can we get a rule check on limited 275? Looks big blockish to me.
No. That's the same little LS you got. Same deal.
Yeah.
Plug and play.
Jim Douglas says, what time does the interview start?
I'd say about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
A few minutes.
We got him in the green room and he's hyped up, ready to go. He's waving at us right now. He's talking to somebody. Yeah.
He's like, come on, let's go.
Now. Put me in, coach.
While we was there, we caught Bob back there grinding on a cylinder. That's my cylinder head. He's doing a little push rod clearance.
Yep.
Taking a little bit of aluminum out of it.
Yep.
They was actively working on my stuff. There's the Sean's custom alloy intake.
You know it's going to be good. Go back a picture.
Whoop.
Right see, he's got the secret sauce next to that. See that NOS can?
That's a little can of NOS.
That's it.
That's right.
Beautiful intake. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Intake.
I think Mark liked it too. We've talked about it for just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. They was doing, sliding ahead on there, checking push rod clearance. There was lifters in that one side.
Yeah.
Just they got the camshaft in it, messing around with it.
Yeah.
Oh, this picture got me a message from Brad Waddle up at Innovators West.
Right.
He said, hey, a belt drive would look nice on there instead of that taxi cab timing chain. I said, I know. I said, Mark was just setting stuff up. It's going to get your belt from Innovators West belt drive setup.
He's keeping an eye on you, Gary. He
knows
who the players are.
He had an eye on it. Yep. You want to make sure I knew that.
It's a nice piece.
Yeah, we was looking it over. I think pistons are out getting coated. He's far enough along to know the push rod length. Those are on order, so it's gonna be wound down fairly soon, I think.
No, it's going to be awesome. And you got a shout out for Shode. He's waiting on you to help, fight off some of these SBFs, So.
Oh, man, go attack them small block Fords. Jeez.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With them Pro Mod engines. Yeah. I'm excited to get this rolling here. I'm going to get it on the dyno and get it all ready to go, bring it home and wait for the car. So,
yeah, no, it's a very nice piece. Very good.
Yep. Be cool. Be different.
Yeah.
I've just been a big block guy. Now I got this. It's just
a
little 305, but whatever.
5.3. Yeah.
Little 305.
Yeah. Little Suburban.
Yep. That's it for our stuff there.
Cool. That was a good trip, man. It's always good to see the park, hanging out for a little bit. And
I was thinking earlier, like, I know I got 2 more trips. I mean, probably another trip for the dyno session and another trip after that to pick it up.
All right. Well, let me know when it's time to roll.
Yeah, be my guess.
Yeah.
Big news last week in the racing world was Larry Larson titled the King of the South by winning that South Carolina, where was that, Ronnie Buff Memorial Race at Shady Side Dragway.
Yep.
He won that with his purpose-built Chevy 2. Yep. Not to be confused by the original one. This is purposely built for this kind of stuff. And, man, it's a great car.
Shady Side, man. We watched that whole race, and he was just rolling them down. And car was consistent, A to B. And would they have to go like 6 rounds or something when there's 64
like
cars
that.
or something?
That's a lot of cars.
It's incredible. For real. And they were running like 200 in the 8th, were they not?
Yeah. Yeah, the Preston's posted a time slip of 200 mile an hour.
Yeah. Woo! That's just rolling.
That's super duper fast.
Yeah.
The little crown. They got a big trophy standing on top of the, standing up on the roof of the car. Did you see the video? Kind of a little short video interview where he was teared up. He was choked up. It was a very emotional deal for Larry. Yeah,
it was. And like he said, it's not only the biggest win for him, but it's been a long time. I think it was his quote. And so, and so that's good for him, man. And kind of a local guy for us. Plus, you actually know Larry, right? I mean, let's be for real.
Yeah. Yep.
And so that's exciting.
Yeah, it's cool to see that. I love that car. It's such a neat car.
Yeah.
Them bodies are great looking race cars. Man.
Yeah. Agreed.
Moving on with some guys we raced with. James Foreman yesterday said getting loaded ready for some testing this weekend at Ozark Raceway Park. Betty White looking a little different this year.
Yeah.
I was trying to look at what looks different. Did you find anything?
I didn't catch that. I just know that, they freshened the motor and put Holly on it, but I didn't know if they got some paint or new wheels or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like looking at the body. Is it the wing color? Is it I don't know. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Excited to see this back at see this out at MoCan. You know what I mean? That's gonna be cool. I'm assuming that'll be their outing with it. I know they tested, but that'll be exciting.
Yeah. Yesterday here locally was the Wheatland Brawl.
Yes.
Kansas International Dragway. Kenneth Watson, FabStar Performance Fabrication, put this deal together. Had lots of sponsors put in some cash on this deal, and there was 2 classes, right? You went out there and hung out for a little bit yesterday.
Yep. The unlimited class, as long as you make the cruise, basically. And then they had the limited class, which was more, no methanol, stock suspension, that sort of thing. Great turnout, great show. We went on the cruise, and
you got to ride on the cruise, didn't you? Get in the car?
I did a little ride along. You might see a picture I took with Jason Flowers, and he came up from Oklahoma. There was a couple local kids. I say kids, local people come up, and they were looking at Jason's car because he even told me he hadn't been here since 2017. To Kansas International Dragway, and so they saw me get out of the car, and they're like, "Hey, whose car is that?" And I was like, "Oh, that's Jason's Flowers car." And he did. This is what happened. I was going to tell you what happened. They go, "Is it fast?" I go, "Yeah, it's got a small block Ford in it."
Of course, right?
Like, oh, okay.
Well, yeah.
So yeah,
Did you learn that in school?
Yeah. So anyway, but he came up, and of course, Joseph Thomas. There was a lot of players there that we got to see and took some pictures. It was a great day for it. The weather was awesome. The way they set the crews up was fantastic. They had a little police escort. They had people from the little surrounding areas, from their their driveways or their streets, waving as you went by. Ended up being a 30-mile cruise, which I was like, holy cow. We're
legit, right?
Yeah. And everybody made it through the cruise, and we got back and got a chance to cool down. You got a test hit, and then they drew chips. So, yeah.
So it's Chris Paget, and there's Tony and Johnny Kamen.
Yep.
Can't really see who else is back there, but there's some fast cars
back there. Corey Bessie had his Camaro. I don't know for this class here, because not everybody's in the picture here, but yeah, it was a good turnout for. There we go.
Thomas, right? Thomas Hendricks
with the Chevelle.
Right.
Yeah. He ended up winning. Little Titans there at Mad. We brought him in on the interview.
Yeah.
And so he was there and catch, and he won a few rounds. I think he made it to the semis. And of course his car is awesome, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think he actually doubled entered, and so he was hot lapping that thing.
Oh, cool.
And even after the cruise, and he was on radials even. He just had some Pro 275s, and that first hit, it was a little greasy, but some cars got down. They sprayed some no prep down, and so it's all good.
Sprayed down the no prep.
Yeah.
And good job to you on the hat and keeping your head in the shade. Look at that.
I am, man. I'm doing it up, man. I don't want to get any more of this little skin cancer I got.
Right.
I'm on it, man.
Good job.
Yeah. I wasn't the only one wearing the big hat either. You know what I mean? They were out in full force.
Well, they worked. They worked great.
Well, it's those cloudy days that get you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, the sun's not out. It's fine. You get smoked.
Exactly. Yeah. But this is a great story here.
Corey's car, right?
Corey Bessie.
Man,
this car hadn't been out for a minute, and it's a big block deal. He just, him being at the race, like he even told me, he goes, I already won. Like, I'm here. I made it, made the cruise. And he's waving at me here. 2 seconds before I took this picture, I was like, thumbs up, and he goes, hey, that transmission works good. And I looked at him, and I remembered I built that power line like 4 years ago. And this weekend's the first time I've seen line pressure, and just made the cruise, just sorting it out. He made some motor passes and called it a weekend. Had a cookout and got the adult beverages out and had a good time with his buddies. And so it was a win.
Well, his car definitely hits all the marks for the cool factor. It's such a great looking car.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, this sure looks good.
That's good. Looks good.
I was seeing pictures from out there, and I'm like, man, whose Camaro is this? And then it made sense. Troy said something about Corey. And I was like, okay, this is Corey's car. I hadn't seen it before ever.
Yeah.
So, man, it's a great looking car.
Yeah.
Barry Peter racing this truck.
Yep. He was out there and ran good. Won a few rounds as well. Of course, that truck always runs good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dr. Dave.
Yep. Dr. Dave getting it done on slicks. Made the cruise. And he's going to come to Mocan. He already told me he'll be there in a couple of weeks.
So this race was kind of like a show or a car show also with Dr. Dave's car, Flowers' car, Corey's
car show. And then a race broke out. I mean,
there you go.
Because they did the cruise and like, hey, we're all here. Let's just throw some money in a
race.
Yeah.
Let's race.
But to be honest with you, they're going for real money. I don't know if it was $4,000 for limited, and I think $2,000 for unlimited, or maybe they did the $3,000, but there was some real money getting thrown around here, and so that's good stuff.
Man, that's great. I forgot this guy's name, but I just do not remember.
Peyton, right? Isn't it Peyton?
Peyton? Is it Peyton Westbrook? Is that right?
Peyton Westbrook. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And another nice car there, 2M Motorsports. And this is a picture getting ready to take the cruise, but another car going rounds. Him and Tony had a door-to-door race there in round 1 or 2, I think, in limited. There's fast. I mean, I don't know if anybody like made it into the 4s, but like, if you're running 530s ish, you're a contender.
Fast, right?
Yeah. But the Maverick,
Johnny Kamen, Keith built this car. Yep, Jason Flowers behind him there.
Yep.
And speaking of Flowers, there's Jason's show car.
Yeah, that's Jason's car, and came by himself, and myself, of course, Troy and Brian were out there. Brian and Troy lining him up in the water box and all that good stuff, and just wanted to try it, and of course this car, it looks just as nice in person, as it does here, and just a nice little car.
Yeah, and he's a really cool dude too.
Yeah.
There's Tony in that picture, and I seen Tony finally made a little post today. He said, came home with a runner-up in unlimited class and made it to 3 in the limited class, second chance. We had a blast racing and would do it again in a heartbeat. This is the style of racing I live for. Good job, Tony. Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. It was cool. His family's out there sporting, and, he double in her and hot lapping it, and car runs really good.
Yeah. Chris Paget, picture his wagon, and he had a little post today too. Somehow we made it to the finals in the main show. Yep. Lost by probably half a car, and I'm okay with that. He said something about a popping and banging, thinks probably needs plugs or something.
Plugs,
but that's how his day went.
Yeah.
So he was in the final with Joseph Thomas. That'd be that class, right?
Yeah, in the limited.
Yeah. And here's Johnny Kamen. Johnny wins. I guess it'd be the outlaw class. Is that what it was called?
Unlimited. Right.
Yep. So Dallas posted this. Johnny Kamen took the car to kid, and we done the thing, took home the stack of cash.
Yeah.
As the unlimited. I think that was like a 2,000 to win deal.
I heard that too. Maybe someone on the deal can show us, but I think it started at 4 and 2. And then after the drivers meeting, when I was doing the ride along with Flowers, I think they did a 3 and 3 thing or something. I don't know.
Wow.
Maybe it went more by I know, but it was just conversation talking. We were on the 30-mile cruise. He mentioned that. So,
right.
But yeah, grid. I mean, great payout.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Good money there. And our buddy Joseph Thomas, he says he was able to pull off the win out of the 12 cars that showed up for the class. In the semis, had a boost control issue, wasn't able to get it fixed for the finals, but had just enough to be able to secure the win. So there's your limited winner, Joseph Thomas. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to visit with him a little bit, at the trailer and in the pits, and they were just having a great time. Great time.
We see him a lot when we go around racing in Kansas City and stuff. And he's a cool dude. And
to be honest with you, Gary, sorry to cut you off. When I'm sitting here like looking at Summit to order something, I'll call him real quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To throw
something. Can you get this?
Yeah, can you get this? And he usually beats the price, and I got it the same day or the same time coming out of Arlington, and and he does a great job. He finds me tires. This cam sync I'm getting ready to call him on. And just trying to throw some money that way.
Yep, support. So the support.
Yep.
Troy said he believes it was 3,000 for limited and 2,000 for unlimited.
There you go. Nope, sounds good.
And I think if I remember right from the flyer, there was 500 to win the second chance.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a no entry deal too. If you lost first round, you just get back in line. Draw.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That wraps up
cool.
That stuff with the racing at Kid yesterday, and maybe that event can grow. I know Ken had talked about maybe they would do another one later in the year. So kind of maybe a fall time. So might take a little bit for it to get some feet under it and bring in some more cars.
Yeah, it was a success, and like just kind of going around the tent, there was just a great quality of cars there, and the word to get out, and Clayton did a great job prepping, and what I mean by prepping, I'm talking about dragging and just having the track ready, and that sort of thing. But
pretty much a slick prep, right?
Yeah, it was a slick prep, and
cool.
I think I didn't make the final round, and Troy can chime in, but like there was no issues with like timing, computer or scoreboard. The new scoreboards were great. You could see them
cool
clearly, and Also, it was set up too where whoever won the Christmas tree light would light up on that side. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you would know, and so yeah. Nope. Hats off to it.
Is Kid doing the time slip app deal, or am I thinking of somebody else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because when I was helping Dr. Dave, he had a time slip every time that he brought in to show me, and so yeah. So not quite there yet.
Yeah, Doug's talking about Joseph Thomas, great prices and great service.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, what are we going to do now?
I think we need to bring on the man. I think we need to bring it in. You know, the winner, the Street Car Takeover.
Man,
you know what I mean?
Big winner.
Big winner. Yeah, Mr. 14s.
Mr. Craig. Let's drag him. Let's make a spot for him and drag him in here. Here is Craig. Fire turd Ondrick.
Hey guys, good to be here.
Hey man, how's it going?
Things going pretty good.
Fantastic. Thanks for doing this. You know, just for myself, you know, just following your car and that's kind of why I know you from the Firebird at Flying H or at Arc City and Ozark. And Gary said he kind of knew you from before, and we talked to you a little bit, and we've been wanting to get you on the show, so the timing worked out perfect.
Yeah, fantastic. Glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation. Appreciate it.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah. I know we're gonna go way to one side, Rodney. We always start with that, but we're sitting here facing the screen, and it says El Conquistador. What's the scoop on that?
Yeah. So I don't know. I used to spend a lot of time in my car listening to Bob and Tom's show, and that was one of the comedians they had on. That was a skit that the guy would prank call into a car dealer and act like a prince from over in the Middle East and wanted to buy this high-end car, and he eventually talks this car dealer into calling him El Conquistador, and they kept referring to him as sir, and he kept correcting him and saying, "Hey, I'm not a sir, I'm El Conquistador." And I just thought that was a hilarious skit, and I don't know, I just kind of sat around for a good name for the race car, I thought.
There you go.
Don't call me sir.
Don't call me sir.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris Wilson says your head don't fit in the screen.
What's that about?
Chris, I had to zoom way back.
Yeah.
He also says you got a Camaro, so
yeah. What's going on with that?
Yeah, he misspelled Camaro. It's Camero. If you're going to refer. Right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I get a lot of crap about it being a Camaro.
Camaro.
Josh
Hamming is with us tonight. He says, "What's up, gentlemen?" And Craig.
Hey, Josh.
You got some long relative cousin dialed in as well. Gary pulled up. What's his name? Rex or something, Gary?
Yeah. Rex is a cousin of mine. He lives out in Washington. So.
Heck yeah.
That might be our first listener from Washington State.
Heck yeah. That's awesome.
Yep.
No,
Chris says he loves you a long time.
Love you a long time too, Chris. You're the best.
There you go. Well, cool. Yeah. Like I said, we appreciate you coming in. You know, we'll start this off and like we talked about before, just talk about, you know, cars, racing, how you got into cars. Like the first question we always ask is, what did you drive in high school? What kind of car did you drive in high school?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the first car I had when I was 14 or 15 was a 79 Buick Regal. That's my dad got me, and it had a 301 Pontiac 2-barrel in it, and it was a good car for a 14-year-old kid. It didn't have any power. We raced it up and down the road, and you really couldn't get in too much trouble with that car. And
right.
But that was my first car, and I think I drove that until my beginning of my junior year, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I happened to find I was kind of keeping my eyes open for another car, and happened to find something in the newspaper classifieds, because this is, I'm old, so it's way back when you had to find
we know what that is.
Yep. Found a 68 Firebird convertible in the class, and it was 30 minutes away. It was a 4-speed car. We drove.
Hey, did you have your heart set on something specific, or were you just looking for something close by that you could afford?
That's a good question. A good buddy of mine at the time had a 72 Le Mans, and it was a 70. This was in 88 ish. It was a 70,000 mile car that he bought. It had a 352 barrel in it, and we did some stuff to it, and it was a runner. So I think that's kind of maybe what got me started on the Pontiac stuff. And I don't know that I was specifically looking for a Firebird. Maybe I was. I probably was for some reason. I can't say why, but happened to find this car. I'd never driven a 4-speed or any manual transmission car. So I drive 30 minutes away with a buddy of mine and test drive this car. I think maybe he might have driven it first, and then I a little bit. Ended up buying it and had to drive it home. And,
is this it?
Yep, that's it. That was it. It had just been painted. It had actually a 389 out of a 66 GTO and a 4-speed. And the guy, the story I heard was the guy had traded it. I bought it from a semi-truck dealer, I think it was. And I think they had said that a guy had traded this car in partially on a semi-truck, big rig or something.
Okay, sure. A little down
payment.
Yeah,
I had to drive it 30 minutes back home, and I remember sitting I got into town. I remember sitting at a stoplight one time on a hill, and thinking, "Oh God, I'm gonna totally roll back into the car behind me here," and revved it up and dumped the clutch and took off, and somehow I made it home. But that was a great car for a high school kid. Back in these summertime, put the top down. After school, put the top down, cruise around, and we just got to the park and cruise and all that. It was a great car.
Yeah, that's a great car.
Yeah,
this looks like the 4-wheel drive model Firebird.
Yeah, that baby had some air shocks on it and everything.
Some height.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got to put the shocks on so everybody can see the chrome differential cover. That's
right. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
very cool. Very cool. Now, is this the first car that you went to the racetrack with, or is there another car after that for that?
No, so I drove that car. I think I sold that in 91 after I graduated from high school, and I wanted a Trans Am. And, so I looked and looked, and I ended up finding a 79 Trans Am, and ended up selling this car and buying buying that car, and that was the first one I ever took out to the track. We took it out to KCIR back in the day. They used to have high school drags, and we used to take it out there. Took it out there a couple times. I think it ran, if I remember right, it ran like a 1380 or something like that. It was terrible, but it So that car had the Oldsmobile 403 automatic. It did have I think it had a chance converter and a pretty size cam. I did some head work to it and a couple other things, but it had a 241 rear gear. So, you can imagine, a 19-year-old kid going out on the highway. You can put your foot to the floor for a long time.
Yeah.
And
you could bootleg some beer with a semi truck.
That's right. Eastbound and down.
Yeah. I think that car had a pretty good stereo system in it and stuff. I think that's a good part of the reason I'm half deaf these days is I lost a lot of my hearing because of that car. But yeah, great times in that car.
When this car came along, what happened to the convertible Firebird?
I sold it to a local guy in town, and I don't know what ended up happening to it, but I did see a couple years after I had sold it. I drove by his house and his garage door was open, and that car was literally in 100 pieces on his garage floor.
That sounds like my house.
I don't know if it never got put back together. Yeah.
Man.
Wow. I see a theme here. A lot of Pontiac going on here.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm telling you, once I got hooked on the Pontiac stuff, I guess it's a sickness or something.
Hey, that makes sense. I get it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Where do we go from this car?
Yeah.
I got to tell you that I had I was 6-7 years old when Smoking the Bandit came out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a love for the 77, 78 Trans Am ever since that has never went away. And I'm going to have one. I've got my eye on them almost every day. So some of these Facebook pages with the Trans Ams and stuff.
Yeah. I just saw a video the other day, a 78 black and gold special edition Smokey and the Bandit iconic car at the Mecum auction went for $400,000.
Oh, yeah.
It had 15 miles on it.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not looking at those.
Yeah. That's right where you need to be, Gary.
Well, I'd have to sell my car. I'd have to sell this.
You got enough space.
Woo! Yeah.
But
yeah,
so I sold that. I drove that car until 93. I ended up moving up to Kansas State University for engineering school. Traded that car in, sadly, on a brand new S10 pickup. Something that was, good on gas and easy to haul stuff around and all that. And I drove that truck through college, and then my first job out of college, I sold the S10 and bought a 95. This was in 96, late 96, early 97. I bought a 95 Trans Am.
There you go.
And then I drove it for a couple years and bought a 96, the Ram Air Formula. Loved that car. And then drove that one for a couple years. And then when the WS6 cars came out, the newer body style, I had to have one. And I bought a brand new 01 Trans Am that you see there in late 2001. And I literally drove that thing home into the garage and started taking it apart.
Of course you did. Why wouldn't you?
Right. Yeah. I did exhaust and headers and wheels and suspension, stuff like that.
Yeah. Help educate me. Is this an LS platform?
Yeah, that was the 01. That was about third year into the LS platform.
Pretty new.
Yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Jason Davis Jason Davis said he thought your first job out of college was as a fluffer.
No,
No.
he was trying to. At the time, Jason was trying to get me into that business, and I didn't want any part of it because it was a dirty business. Yeah.
You knew if you wanted to be buying these Pontiacs, you had to get in the engineering business.
There you go.
Right. That's right. Yep. They're, you know how race cars are, man. They're a money pit.
Yeah.
So you got to be doing something, either in engineering, or you got to be a doctor, or in the adult entertainment business or something.
Or a welder. You can be a welder like Gary.
Or a welder, yeah. Right. Those welders, they make a lot of money here. Yeah.
Man, you see my race car right
here. Yep.
So where are you at here with this picture? Pro World Series final, Memphis?
Yeah. So I used to we used to take it to the NMCA races, and a good buddy of mine and his dad at the time were running NMCA, the nostalgia super stock class, and so we just took the car down there to Memphis usually, and run with them in open comp usually for fun. And
yeah,
we had a blast with that car.
How fast were you going right here when this picture was taken?
I think the fastest we went with that car was 11:20s. It wasn't my daily driver, but I drove it probably half the week.
Yeah.
I'd say. And so it was, mostly street car, some race car. But
what do you got for the back for a tire there? What's on the back?
I think that was a
way back in 04.
Yeah, 26 10.5 slick. Yeah. Yeah, had to do a little bit of work just to get that tire on there.
Okay.
Set the front wheels off the ground.
It looks good, doesn't it, Gary?
Man, the car's 3 years old, and I put a bunch of work into it, and of course, it was my baby, and you bring it up to the starting line, and it was 6-speed. So if you want to go fast, you got to get off the line hard. So, dump the clutch at 6,000, 6,500, and just kind of pucker and let her go and see what happens, and hope nothing breaks. And so that was a fun car. But I got to a point with that car where I'm like, either this car is going to end up not a street car because I have to replace parts with stronger parts and all that.
Sure.
Or I can just go full race car with something else, and that's what it ultimately ended up doing. I'm like, I can't see turning this car into a full race car. It's just too nice of a car, and so I kind of put it back. Took some of the parts, the race parts off of it, and turned it more just 100% daily driver, and then went full race car on a toy.
So you went shopping, huh?
Went shopping. Yeah, that was a big decision right there, because I had two choices really at the time: was buy a roller 4th gen Trans Am and build something from scratch, or buy something old school, something old school muscle car. My good buddy at the time, Eric, he said, man, whatever you build, it's going to be cool. There's a lot of nice 4th gens at the track, and people will come up and be like, yeah, that's a really nice 4th gen or whatever. But there are no 68 Firebirds, 1st gen muscle, nice muscle cars at the track. And he's like, dude, you got to do it. You got to do it 1st gen. And so I thought about it for a while and decided he was right, and started shopping around and happened to find the car I thought was the deal for me. This was 2005, January 2005. found this car in Ohio, and drove up there. Worked out a deal with the guy. Drove up there in late January, and open trailer, full race car. I think I got off work at noon maybe on a Friday and drove to Ohio. I think it was an 11-hour trip. We loaded the car up, did the deal and everything, and he went over some stuff. It was a full Super Pro car. It had the delay box in it. 496. Yep. 496 big block Chevy. Power Glide. I think it had a 32 by 16 tire on it, just a monster truck tire.
All the tire.
Funny car tire.
Yep. It ran 6.0s in the 8th. I think we went 9.40s in the quarter mile. So it was a pretty stout block, but that was the fastest. I went from 11.20s to 9.40s.
Yeah.
Just overnight.
Yeah.
But long story short, I bought that. I drove 11 hours to Ohio on a Friday night, loaded up, headed back home. I got halfway across Illinois and ran into a blizzard. And I've got this car on an open trailer, and it goes from just snowing a little bit to full on like 2 or 3 inches of snow on the interstate. I pulled over, got a hotel along the interstate, and I thought it'll be fine. Roads will be clear in the morning. Woke up, there's 6 inches of snow. Nobody on the roads. The interstate's closed. And ended up white knuckling, dragging this thing home in the snow on the interstate at about 35 mile an hour until I got to St. Louis, where it kind of cleared up and the roads cleared up and got it home. It was quite a journey at the time.
11 hours turned into 40, sounds like.
Yeah. It was. I think I lost a few hairs on that trip right there. It was pretty stressful.
Speaking of hair, let's stay on that since you brought it up. Let's go back to this.
Woo! That was the dazed and confused days. The Trans Am, the Joe Dirt, the whole deal. Those are good times right there.
Full on mullet right there,
man.
Yeah.
Serious in the front, party in the back.
Yeah, then you sent another one of a little more recent with this. A little different, right?
What's that arrow for that, Gary? What's going on there?
I think it was only fair to do a comparison,
right,
to then and now. Yeah.
A little before and after.
Yeah. I blame mostly my kids on that.
Okay.
Right there.
Fair.
They're awesome, but
yeah,
it cost me a few hairs, I think, along the way.
So it looks like the car and the hairstyle went through a transformation.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hilarious. Yeah.
I don't know. I may grow it back out this year. I'm considering it.
Yeah.
I could grow. I got good hair.
Oh, yeah.
I'm good.
It's coming back. It's coming back. All the kids are doing it.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it real good so far. Yeah.
There's some mullet race team or something.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Back to the Firebird.
Yeah, that's
Convo Pros, giant deep Convo Pros.
Yeah, deep pros.
That was an experience. So I one of the things I really liked about that car was I didn't have to wait, a year or 2 years to build a car from scratch.
Right.
It was running and driving, and I could go fast, faster than I was going, and had some fun. We entered a couple of Super Pro races. We ran open comp a few times in Memphis at NMCA. We ran Super Pro out at Ozark a few times. And I tell you what, I learned real quick that running a Super Pro car, a bracket car like that, and being good at it is not easy.
Right.
So, shout out to the guys. I know Super Pro and these bracket cars are not the most fun for spectators to watch, but that is hard
skill.
to do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of skill involved. And the one thing I found, as a driver, it's really hard, but as a beginning tuner, it was interesting to me. With my engineering background and stuff, I like to tweak and tune on things, and that was a good learning experience on, keeping good records and all that, on figuring out what the car is going to run every pass, and when the weather changes between runs, what's it going to run again? Because you got to be able to put a number on the car, and you got to be able to run that number within 1,000th if you can every time. So it was a challenge. So I wasn't very good at it, and I decided that man, I just want to keep my foot to the floor the whole time, and just try to go as fast as I can, and had some friends that were pushing me in that direction, and so it kind of evolved from there.
Yeah. Same story. It's hard dumping taters and trying to race the stripes and that sort of thing. Yeah. It's easy to just see all the flash and let go of the button, right?
Chris Wilson says, the first time I met Craig's boys, they came over and asked me if my car was a slow Vel. Craig was standing 2 pits down, laughing his ass off.
See, I deserve every bit of shit that Chris gives me, because it's reciprocal. It's reciprocal.
There you go. So back when you first got this car, did it have a 9-inch in it, I'm assuming, with these big old tires? Or
Yep. It was a pretty basic 750 horse big block power glide.
Yeah.
9-inch combination. The guy had actually taken that car and he did a full rotisserie restoration on it, and painted everything under the underside, everything base clear. And then he decided that he was going to turn it into a race car.
Wow.
So then he cut it up and did a back half on it, and the big tires and all that. And so that's where I bought it. And I knew I wanted a first gen at the time. And one thing I knew I did not want to do was buy a bodywork project. You know how those are. You find a 68 car, an old car, and first thing you got to do is quarter panels and rocker panels and all that rust repair, and that's just a mess. I didn't want any part of that. So that was a big advantage to buying that car.
That was smart.
I've been able to take that thing and just make it a little bit faster.
That was my next question. So this car we're looking at is the same one you have now, right?
It's the same car.
Okay. Here when you're done, when you're tired of the bracket racing and you want to floor it the whole time, what year was this, and how did that transition happen?
So that was about 2000. I bought this car in 2005. About 2007, my buddy Eric, actually, he said, "Hey man, I got this set of 3110.5 Ws off my Nostalgia Superstock car." He had a Nostalgia Superstock AFX car, 67 Belvedere, and he had this set of tires off. He's like, "Let's put those. I'll give you these tires. Put them on there, and I think it might be faster." Mm-hmm. I'm like, "All right, what the hell? Let's try it." So I threw them on there, and right about that same time, I think late 2006, I saw there was a Carcraft or Hot Rod magazine that the cover had a big block Pro Charger blow through carburetor on the cover. And I saw that and I was like, man, that's badass. You can just, in a weekend, you can bolt that, not even a weekend, in a couple hours, you can bolt that onto this big block that I've got here. Woo. And I can go from 700 horse to 1200 horse, just like that.
Yeah.
And so that's what I bought. I bought this Side Slinger F2 blow through carburetor kit and threw it on there. That's about late 2006, and then 2007 he gave me this set of small tires and smallish tires. They're big tires by today's standards. But so we took it out. This picture here. This was 2007. Yeah, fall. This was like October, November 2007 at KCIR. Getting a feel for how good the small tires hook. And they hook pretty good. Let's put it that way. They hook pretty good. I did have the sissy bars on the back. They were set pretty high, obviously, but right. I'm glad I did because I think it probably would have flipped over backwards if I wouldn't have had them on there. But that was a fun ride right there.
Yeah.
And this is carbureted blow through side slinger mode now, right?
Yep. Super easy combination. Mm-hmm. Put C16 fuel in it, carburetor, and go. It was about as simple and easy as you can get for making big power at the time, and it was a lot of fun.
Super cool.
There's a kind of a picture of the side slinger and the hat and the carburetor.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the next evolution to the blow through carburetor, non-intercooled was putting an intercooler on it. And so we put an intercooler on it, I think probably around 2008. I think it was maybe 2000. Yeah, probably 2008. That's my buddy Eric right there. He was the foot in my ass most of the time to make that car faster, to do shit to it all, to get it to go faster. And he had one of these. He had this real technical mind of being able to analyze data and try to tweak on things and make it better. And so we just really, got along really good in that regard with the race car stuff. And so that year, 2008, took it out to Ozark. We'd been going out there and watching their shootout races for several years. Street Machines, they had the big Street Machines race every year. 2008, we went out there and I bought a set of 29.5 10.5s, and I'm like, you know what? I think I can run with these guys. I won't be the fastest in the class, but I'll have a hell of a good time. Mm-hmm. I'll race some fast cars. Don Irwin was running at the time, and he was the guy. He was the man back in those days. If you wanted to win a race, you had to get by Don. And so that first race, I don't even know how it happened, but we ended up in the winner's circle. Whoa. And it was the craziest thing I'd ever experienced, and the most fun. And that taught me, if anything, that taught me that you don't have to have the fastest car to win.
That's right.
You gotta be consistent. You gotta make laps. Luck always helps, of course, but you didn't have to have the fastest car. So at that point, I was hooked. So I'm like, man, I had so much fun. I thought, man, I can come out here every time, and even if I don't win races, I'm still having a great time. And so that's what we did. We just kept coming back to True 10-5. There was a great group of guys. There was probably, gosh, every month for the shootouts in True 10-5, there was probably 16 or 20 cars.
Wow.
It was Don Irwin, Kerry Davis, Mark Woodruff in the 67 Vet,
Chris Davis, James Davis.
Yeah, James Davis. I think Tito was racing. Tito had his wagon at the time. Beeler. We had a super awesome group of guys that it was fun to race with.
Okay.
And, so just 2010, we won 4 races out there in True 10-5. Had a great season.
Is Ozark, do you call your home track? Or
yeah,
maybe Mocan?
I would say at this time in 2006, I was living over in Carthage, and so we were right by Mocan. So I would say Mocan was more our home track than anything. But they didn't really have a heads up program at the time. So we would go to Mocan and run Mako. They had Mako at the Memorial Weekend races we'd run behind the fuel altered cars. But yeah, ORP was our home track as far as the shootout stuff, the heads up stuff. Yeah.
When did you start running in the Mako group?
That was probably 2010, probably right about that same time, 2009, 2010. That was a good time. That was another good group of guys that we raced with. That was back when Kit Long, Murder Nova, Big Chief, those guys, Ryan Martin, they were running. Yep, they were running Mako. Dwayne Mills was running Mako. At the time. Super cool. Thinking back to those days. Some of the guys I've had the pleasure to race with over the years.
Gary, as you go through these pictures, I see a transformation of the car, with the hood, the wheels. It's got the wheelie bars are gone. It's got a wing now. The tire gets smaller and the car goes faster. Do you see the same type of little thing going on there?
Yeah. Awesome. You want to talk about this real quick? You also sent this picture, and this is in the order you sent. You got a banged up fender here.
That was 2010. I think late 2000. The last race, 2010. That was a Mako finals, I believe. And I don't know what happened. I know I didn't even get a video of it. We usually have videos of the car, everything. For some reason, didn't get a video of it, but
sorry.
My wife's back here. She says sorry. She was still in training. Gary, you were talking earlier about 7 years of training. Well, mine's probably 7 years of training to run a video camera, to get the car in the camera.
You know where she's going to stick that camera now, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I may get hit in the head with it here in a minute, but Jeff told me at the time when we got back after we got it loaded up, he said it shook the tires real hard. I guess what happened, it got out about 100 feet, shook the tires, and the car made a real hardcore turn to the right. We're in the left lane, and when it went to the right, I guess I corrected, and then it went right back to the left and into the wall.
Where was you at? Which where he said? What track?
This was Mocan.
Mocan.
And fortunately, I think I'm not a big fan of the old school metal guardrails, but fortunately in this case, because I hit the guardrail, the metal guardrail, it absorbed a good part of the impact and didn't do a tremendous amount of damage to the car. I was able to strip all the crinkled up metal off of it and fix the front subframe myself and bought a new fender, a new front end, and ended up having Robert Beasley at Tim's Body and Glass throw some new blue paint on it and got us fixed up. So yeah, that was something I didn't want to ever experience again. Just these cars, the faster they get, the more random stuff, weird stuff that can happen. But that was one of those times where you just kind of let go of the wheel, and I didn't let go of the wheel, but it feels like you just let go of the wheel and it's going to do what it's going to do, and it's just what happened. So
yeah.
Fortunately, it wasn't too bad.
Your big block here is on the valve cover. It says New Era Racecraft. Now, wasn't that Steve Morris part of that before he broke off on his own thing?
Yes. So Steve built my when I first put the Pro Charger on back in 2006, 2007. We messed around with it. Actually, no. That race that we won, the first True 10.5 race that we won at Ozark.
That one.
Yep. It had that old, basically bracket motor in it with this Pro Charger on it. And it was knocking when I drove it back from the return, drove it back down the return road. It was knocking. I fired it up again and took winter circle pictures, drove it back, put it in the trailer, and the crank was broken in half.
Oh, dang.
It broke, though. The crank literally broke in two pieces when I was disassembling the motor, trying to figure out, that next weekend. It broke in two pieces. I still have half that crank.
Whoa.
So I had Steve. Steve was the guy back then for blow through Pro Charger big blocks. I mean, if you wanted a badass Pro Charger motor back then, that was him. And so I contacted Steve, and he built me a really badass long block with nice pieces and stuff in it. And thinking all I need is something that'll be reliable at 1,500-1,600 horse, and I'm good,
Mm-hmm.
But that was a good motor, and that it kind of evolved from there. He was with Kyle for a while at New Era doing engines, and then I think a year or two after that he split off and started his own engine shop again. So
cool. I found this picture and I thought it was pretty awesome because this is at Tulsa. It's October of 2011. And Rodney, who's in the other lane over there? You recognize that car? It's a blue Mustang.
I see that. Is that Smitty?
That's Steve Ash.
Oh, okay. I thought it might have been Mike Smith. But yeah, I see it.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't heard anything from Steve in a while.
No, he's been pretty quiet around here.
Mm-hmm.
Has he?
I've seen your pictures. I've seen this and yourself. I'm like, man, there's Steve's car. That's really cool.
That is
this
cool.
Was this a Mako race or like a fall throwdown?
That would have been a Mako race right there. They used to have the Mako at the throwdowns.
Okay.
So it was probably a fall throwdown with the Mako deal in there. That was a funny story. I don't think I had a picture of it, but I used to run a 5-inch tube coming off the blower up to the cowl area, thinking, I'd be drawing cool air for that side slinger blower.
Right.
And when we started running the Mako deal, I had to run a reducer to meet class rules.
Yeah.
And so I made this really crude sheet metal reducer, fit on the blower, reduced it down to 3 7/8 ID, had a little bit of a nice radius, for air to come into it. Well, I swapped that tube, that cowl tube, for this reducer, and all my tune-ups went out the window for this first race. Like, what happened? I used to be able to throw this tune-up in there and it'd go 520. Every time, no problem. Well, come to find out, that reducer bell that I had made out of sheet metal, it was worth 100 horsepower. So, and I think the tube was probably, the tube itself was probably killing maybe another 50, but the reducer was worth 100 over nothing on the blower. So once we figured that, well, I didn't figure it out at the time, but we were last round of qualifying at this race, and I'm like, I've done nothing but spin the tires every chance in the first 3 rounds. So I just knocked something stupid, like 8 degrees of timing out of it early, and it went 499, which was a Mako record.
Man.
And I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that.
Knocked the bottom out of it.
And believe me, I think there were some people who were not too happy about that, because I know there were some people that did not approve of the big block, supercharged big block in Mako at all.
Right.
Mako,
that was your big block was limited to the F2 with the reducer, right? Yeah.
Yep. So that was accidental. Sorry. Didn't mean to show my hand like that early, but that was pretty funny.
Well, you're an engineer. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Every once in a while, something like that happens, and I stumble onto something cool.
Mm-hmm.
The Mako stuff. Here you end up 2011 Mako Real Street Champion.
Yeah, so I think that was our second or maybe our third year running Mako. 11. Second year running Mako.
Travis won the year before.
Yeah, Quasi won the year before. I think Kit won the year before that, and probably the year before that, and probably the year before that. Yep. So I was dead set. My goal was to win a Mako championship that year, and we managed to get it. That was a pretty big achievement right there on a first small tire car and what we were doing at the time. That was a lot of fun. That was a great series. I loved running with Jeff. Jeff was a great organizer of that series, and we just had a lot of fun. He did a great job with that.
That was fun. And you got on the T-shirt.
Yeah, got on the T-shirt. I still have a couple of those T-shirts laying around somewhere. Every once in a while, I'll see one at a track, or someone will, post a picture of it that they're wearing their Mako 2011 champion T-shirt at the track. It's pretty cool.
You're just talking about the intercooler in your car and stuff. I found this picture. So this was standard equipment back then. Intercooler, tubing in the car, a digital 7. That was normal equipment. This is before you went Holly.
Yeah, carburetor and a digital 7. Man, I don't even know what I'd do these days with, in between rounds, if that's all I had to work with. Right. I mean, I had no data logger really. I had nothing. Just a video, usually of the pass, if I'm lucky, of the car in it. And
he looks at her.
But yeah, that was as simple, as we, a lot of us were going pretty fast back in those days with very basic equipment, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. This was in order here. Is this like your Mako champion trophy or something?
That was that was the Mako finals at Mocan, and that was a Mako versus. They had Mako and they had
Oklahoma Cheer 10-5.
No, they had Vamp. They still had this was before KCIR had closed down, so they still had the Vamp series. So Vamp guys would come down, and they'd had their race, and then we would end up lining up against the top Vamp guys at the time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think matter of fact, I think at that race, I think we ran Jared Johnston, green Mustang at the time.
Right.
Yep. So that was pretty cool, and see Bryce there holding the giant trophy. It's as big as he is. That's pretty awesome.
Who obviously that's your wife there with you. Who are the other people?
Yeah, so that's on the right of the picture. There's Aaron Bramer, and the left is Daniel Lloyd, and then his daughter Emily. Daniel and Aaron, they were those guys are awesome. They were always at the track. We always had a lot in common, and they were just super awesome to be able to jump in and help me when I needed help. You know how it is. When you're racing these heads-up cars, it's hard to do everything by yourself as much as I tried sometimes, and they were always awesome jumping in and helping me. Daniel's been with me ever since probably 2009, 2010 maybe.
Yeah, you started racing Mako.
Yeah, as soon as we started racing Mako, he's always been there to help me, and that's I can't thank him enough for that, because it's like I said, having people to help is 100% important. You can't do it without someone to help you out, to be able to go to the races and help, and then having your family with you. Yeah. My kids have grown up at the racetrack, and I have a lot of pride in that. I love the fact that they've made a lot of friends, other kids at the track, and they've always been there racing with me.
Yeah.
So that's super cool to me. But some people don't have that benefit. Their hobby's racing, and their wife and kids don't want to go to the racetrack.
Right.
And I couldn't imagine doing it without everybody, being there with me, and I probably wouldn't do it, if they weren't there with me. So, and the last couple years, now that the boys are helping more than they're, just kind of in the way, and, we're, being little, it's a really good feeling. I'm telling you, it's a good feeling having them help, and having, when I'm on the starting line, lining me up, and usually flipping me shit in the in the headset, telling me not to suck or something. One day they'll be in the car, and I'll be doing the same. So it's
you mean payback.
There you go.
Robert Beasley says Mako potlucks were always top notch.
Yeah. Robert was running. I almost forgot he had a car.
Yes, blue Camaro.
Robert
with a 10 bullhorn. Remember that? There's a great group of guys. We just always had a good time together. Everybody helped each other out if you need something. So talking about your kids, there's one more transition with your car, but let's stay with your kids for just a second. You do more than race. You're also into fishing, right? And your kids?
Yeah, I was not into fishing at all. So, my extent of fishing was a bobber and a worm and catching bluegill.
There you go.
A chunk of hot dog or something like that, catching bluegill off the dock or something, or in a creek.
Piece of bread.
That was my extent of fishing knowledge. And probably about 6 years ago, Bryce decides he wants to do bass fishing tournaments. And I'm like, okay. No, I don't know anything about bass fishing, but so we bought a boat and we joined the Republic. Republic has the biggest fishing team in the state. I think the coach of the Republic team and the guy that runs the NYFA Fishing Association, they're the ones that started that association. So when I met the coach and saw what that was all about, I'm like, man, I'm all in on this. So Bryce and his partner have learned how to bass fish competitively, and they've done really well for themselves. They've taught me how to bass fish. I'm still not as good as they are, but we have a hell of a good time going out on the water and trying to catch.
That's awesome.
Catch fish we don't ever get to eat. You know, you catch them and throw them back for another day, but it's a good time.
That's so cool.
Very cool.
And you're into snorkeling a little bit?
I've been into scuba diving since I was probably 10 years old.
Wow.
And I would read every book in the library when I was in grade school that I could find on scuba diving. And I got certified in 2002 or 3. Right after I got married, we went to Maui, and I thought, man, if I go to Maui, I got to be able to scuba dive. So we went diving in Maui. Thought it was awesome. My wife's not a water person really, so I haven't had a diving partner. But Bryce got scuba certified here about 6 years ago, and so we've been going every summer. We go on a trip to Cozumel or Punta Cana. We're going to Roatan this year to go scuba diving, and it's a blast.
That's cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah, had some good times.
You got sharks?
Yeah, I almost got eaten by a great white shark there. That was a 20-footer. that photo was courtesy of my buddy Shay Bell. He photoshopped the great white in there, and it turned out spectacular. That's a great photo. Yeah. If that shark was real life, the water would be brown. I think right there. I think.
Yeah.
I've seen sharks diving, but not the kind of sharks like that. So.
Oh man.
How often do you buy candy from this van?
Not very often, man. They're trying to get me in the back of the van sometimes.
Foreman.
Yeah.
I saw this on your page and I was rolling around. I'm like, I gotta grab this. Oh man.
Foreman's a great dude. Apparently he was servicing my neighbor's air conditioning one day, and I figured I had to take that picture.
Yeah,
that's great.
And I figure I had to snag it for this.
Yeah.
Your car made the transition from carburetor to fuel injection at some point, whenever that was.
Yep.
And when I was digging through your stuff, is this where that transition started with Jake?
It did. Yep.
I had to grab this picture, dude.
I'm glad you did. Because, man, that dude was so awesome.
Yes.
There's so many people that miss him. He helped me out get we got the intake manifold converted to EFI and
so you won the Mako championship in 2011. this is dated February, so this is a winter project to turn your car to EFI for 12 and wow,
Yep.
right.
Yep. So we put Holly had just come out probably in 2011 with the Dominator setup, and so I thought, that looks like it's right for me. So we put the Dominator on there, and Ryan at the time, Ryan Whitty, who currently works for Holly, was working for Steve Morris, and so he helped. He got it. We dynoed it. He got it all tuned up and everything. And Ryan's been a fantastic resource and good friend of mine for ever since, for 13 years. That was going to EFI was the next natural progression from carburetor.
Still has Holly on it. Are you still Holly, right?
Yep. Still has Holly. I'm still pretty diehard on the Holly stuff. I'm too old to change and learn new stuff. It seems like. So I can do pretty much everything I need to do with minimal help and with the Holly stuff. So I don't want to change at this point.
Well, it just works.
Yeah.
It does exactly what you tell it to do. It does it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you got to have whatever. Well, I tell people you got to have whatever EFI you can get help with sometimes. And Holly there's several other guys at the track. Matter of fact, Russell just converted his car over to a Dominator.
That's right.
And so, I think that's important. You got to be able to, you're at the track and something happens, or you don't know how to fix something. You got to be able to ask someone that knows what they're doing.
Yep.
Or someone that's got the same thing you have. And that's pretty important to me. So.
Same.
Yep. We're Holly heavy around here too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got Holly, Rodney, right?
Yeah. And it's the same thing you just said. Gary and I were talking about it back then when I was converting over, because I've had fast, big stuff, then decided to go with the Holly, and just, having the extra people at the track and the know-how, and then just kind of got hooked up with Devin Vanderhoof and Derek Kelly, went to a class, and just kind of been learning as you go. And you still learn new stuff, but the basics of it, we got down.
Yeah.
It's a standard go fast package of polished wheels and Holly.
Yeah.
In case Troy is still listening.
Oh yeah. But just have a quick question. When you went to the Holly as well, did you still have the F2, or did you go with a something bigger at that point?
No, we ran the F2 on there. Put a gear drive on it. I think at the same time we went to fuel injection. That motor, we dynoed that motor. It made 1990 or 1985 or 1986, something like that on a dyno, which at the time guys were like, you can't make 2,000 horsepower with an F2. It's not possible.
Right.
And I'm like, sorry, but I did.
Yeah, I'm an engineer, right? All right.
Yeah. I didn't, but it was me and Steve Morris at the time, and we had a great engine package. But yeah, that motor made really good power for the F2.
Awesome.
Was that gas and an cooler still back then?
Yep.
Okay.
C16, and I think when we converted it to the intercooler, I think we converted to Q16 at the same time. So
right.
Cool.
Yeah, that was so Holly Springs. That was 2012-ish, I think, the first time we went to Holly Springs. That was the heyday of radial racing was really getting fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Radial versus the World. Those guys were running 420s. I think maybe at the time it was like fast.
Yeah.
And we were running in the 275 versus 28, 10-5 class. Marty Stinnett was down there running with us at the time. Preston brothers were running at the time.
Okay.
With us, a bunch of really fast guys, and that was magical at the time. Honestly, you go down there and that was the first time we saw any kind of track like that was that sticky. It wasn't the go to the track and try to figure out how to take power out to go down the track. It's you go every pass, you're like, how much more can I put in at this time?
Yeah.
Without flipping over backwards.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was fun. And we ended up with the F2, we ended up going 448. Which was smoking for an F2 combination at the time. It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
This,
but that was, the radio. That was what really got me hooked on the radial stuff too. Was going to Holly, just we kind of were going to Holly just kind of for fun to play with the big boys, and that got me hooked on it. And I don't want to put slicks back on it again after that.
Right. I think I dug this off your Facebook page. This is dated June 17th of 2013. You're the winner of whatever race you was at here at our track at Kansas International Dragway.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was the one other time I've been out to Kid. That was a Mako. That was a Mako race. Yep. I think that was the last year, 2013, I think was the last year Mako
Quasi-written.
had races. Yep.
Who did you race in the final?
Quasi.
Quasi.
Okay.
Travis Wilson, yeah.
He read
Yep.
it.
Daniel told me he read lit. So maybe I got he threw me a bone there or something. I don't know. Like I said, I'd rather be lucky than good any day. But
absolutely.
Yeah, that was a good time. That was a good weekend. We got locked out of our motorhome that weekend. The kids were little. Ryan, my youngest, flipped the latch on the door to the motorhome and locked us out of it.
Oh no.
Whoa.
We're like, oh shoot, now what do we do?
Right.
And I don't know, just dumb luck. One of the windows was unlatched, and I was able to slide it open from the outside and throw one of the kids in through the window and get it unlocked. I'll probably have a story like that at probably every race that we've been to, or Terrace has more than one story for every race with the kids, because they're a hoot.
This trophy here is dated 2013, Tulsa Raceway Park Super Street Champion Craig Ondrick. And you posted this in February 8th of 2014, probably after a banquet of some sort.
Yep. That was Chris Dingman had had the series going. It was Ozark Gateway, Ozark Tulsa.
Yes.
But it was shootout series. And so we ended up, I don't know, we did pretty good that season, I guess, and ended up the points champion barely. I think we were neck and neck with Jason Brown by maybe 1 point. I think we beat him by 1 point. It was close. We were neck and neck. Yeah, that was a really close deal there. So, but that was fun. We had a banquet at the end of the year down at the casino. Was it the Hard Rock? Osage. It was Osage Casino. We had a banquet there and stayed the night and stuff. It was a good time.
Heck yeah.
Beasley says Radio Revenge Tour.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yep. That sounds right. Yep. Yeah, that was. Dingman. I don't know if Dingman's been to the racetrack much since then. He's got some other stuff going on, but I miss if you're listening to this, Dingman, I miss you being at the track. So
he's been watching our stuff before. We've seen him where we can see on our phone who's watching.
Right.
And we've caught him before. And we talked to him at PRI back in December for a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing the snow prep stuff right now he's involved in, and
Armageddon.
Armageddon, yeah, right. Yep.
Odie had the Oklahoma True 10-5 series. Did you ever race in that, or was the combo not legal for that?
We did. We did race.
First time 275s.
That was the thing. Yeah, Daniel said that was our first time on 275s, and yeah, he's right. Was that first one at Tulsa,
Yeah,
right?
We set the track
We ended up in the final, and Daniel said we set the track record, and ended up in the finals.
Nice.
I've been the bridesmaid and not the bride in many times, and
Sure.
and I think that was one of them too that I really wanted to win and got a runner up on that deal. But
dang,
yeah, that was fun. That was another series there. We kind of just got in right at the tail end of the OTT5 deal. I think we went to Tulsa once, and we went to Norman, Thunder Valley.
Yep.
I think was a yeah.
And there was one south of Tulsa, way down there. Like
Ardmore. We went to Ardmore one year. Yep. Long drive down there. But yeah, that was a good series. Yeah, I love this picture. I love this picture. This is one of the few that jumped out at me when I was searching through my folders of pictures. Like I was saying earlier, this is what keeps me coming back to the track. You know, I love the racing. I love letting go of the button and going fast. But right here is what I really love about racing. It's having my friends and family and they're having a good time and I'm having a good time and all that. So
Absolutely.
I think that was
Holly Springs.
Yep. I'm sure we probably just set a new PB or something, you know, and everybody's all excited because it seemed like every time we went to Holly, every pass we'd set a new PB or something. So it was fun.
Great picture.
Yeah. This says Holly Springs 2015 Fall Brawl. And up top it says 430 with a 7 at 172.55.
Yes, we just switched from the F2 to a 121 F3 121 blower, and that 121 was pretty cool. It was a lot more blower than the F2 was. So yeah, that's still one of the, you know, for the blower that I had and for what the car weighed, I think it was 3,250 or 3,300 pounds at the time.
Man,
that was cooking.
Yeah.
I was pretty proud of that. Yep.
Man. This is at Tulsa.
Yep.
Yep. That was a throwdown, and I think they had Radio versus the World at that throwdown. And we ended up in the finals against Tim Slavens.
Oh wow!
And, the old
Wolverine.
The old Wolverine. Their maroon '68 Camaro.
Right.
Yep. And winning a throwdown has been one of my bucket lists. At that point was a bucket list deal for probably 3 or 4 years. Winning a throwdown, and I think we had the car to beat because I think they had a faster car, but they were having some troubles. And I think what happened was I let go of the button, and I turned mine up to try to stay ahead of them because I knew I was going to have a tough run in the other lane, and mine got out about 100 feet and just started climbing the ring gear, and it was front end was about 2 feet off the ground, and I'm like it's not going to come down. I got to blip it, and I did. And he had me by a fender. That was pretty wild.
I bet you'd like to go rerun that with some different tuning strategy and shock settings, right?
Yeah, that Tulsa has not been good to me. Honestly, I love racing there. Love that track. I can't wait to get back there again this year. But we were in the final. Mako final at the Throwdown, I think a couple years prior to this picture, and I had the car to beat. There was an oil down right in front of us. A big tire car had hit the wall, and we sat in the lanes for probably an hour and a half while they cleaned up. And at the time we're running on slicks, and you know what happens when the track gets really good on slicks? You don't have the wheel speed that you thought you were going to have early. Yeah. And it was Jim French was in the other lane, the white third gen that Brian Wise ended up.
Jim Friend.
Yeah.
Jim Friend. Yes. My bad. Brian Wise bought that car from Jim.
Yep.
And mine did a 300-foot wheelie, about 3 foot, had the front end about 3 foot in the air for the first 330. And I blipped it about 3 or 4 times trying to get it to come down. Finally, it came down and it didn't shift, and it hit the rev limiter, and I hammered the shifter. It shifted, and when it did, he got me by a fender, and he ran a PB. I think I had him, from what he was running in eliminations prior to that, I think I had him by 2 or 3 tenths. And he picked it up and ran a PB and beat me to the stripe. And I don't know. I wake up in a cold sweat every once in a while thinking about that one. That was that was another one I wish I could go back and redo. It was fun, but
yeah. The last few pictures we have are real recent, like Street Car Takeover from a few weeks back.
Yep.
Tell us about this weekend starting on Friday.
Yeah.
So did a new front end, new fiberglass front end, and I put a new freshened the motor and stuff over the winter, did a ton of work to it. Picked the car up. Robert Beasley did a badass job painting the new front end. Picked it up on a Thursday evening. The following Friday was Street Car Takeover, and I had put the motor in it and get all this stuff, all these items buttoned up, and Daniel stayed late one night. We dynoed it on Thursday night before the race. Wes from Show Me Speed met me over at the dyno, made sure the motor was good, and then tweaked on the tune-up and stuff, and took it up to Street Car Takeover Friday, the next day, and I thought, man, this is going to be just a glorified test session this weekend, because literally just got the thing bolted together. Heckman had his new car out, and it's a bad boy piece. There's a bunch of killers out there in the small tire class, and we I don't even know how to explain it. I'd rather be lucky than good any day, like I said, but we just powered through. We had some really good consistent passes. Taking from what we knew last fall. Last fall we had really figured some stuff out on the car, and I think we had some really good consistency. Car was getting faster every time we took it out. And so I felt like we did have some pretty good data going into this weekend. Cool. Some of the changes I made kind of skewed my data a little bit. I couldn't find my 60 foot. We were going 107, 108, 109 pretty much every pass last fall. And I think the best 60 foot we had that weekend of Street Car Takeover was a 114.
Wow.
So I got to work on that a little bit. Got some things to try still, but yeah, we just at this level of racing, it's a lot of times it's just a matter of who's left at the end of the night. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we drew. They have a chip draw deal for this race, and I'm terrible at drawing chips. Daniel is terrible at drawing chips. Tara is terrible at drawing chips. Emily, Daniel's daughter, she's terrible at drawing chips. But so we've been rotating. So this weekend, Ryan, my youngest son, we said, everybody else sucks at chip drawing. You're chip drawing this weekend.
All right.
And he did fantastic. The only thing he could have done better was draw the buy chip, and we didn't get a buy run, but he drew good chips that night, and we just made good, consistent laps. I mean, it was just every pass, it just went down. It wasn't, PBs, but it was just good, solid passes every time, and managed to put it in the winner's circle, and we were just all ecstatic. I mean, it was awesome. We just couldn't believe it.
That's good stuff.
So you won Friday. Did you go into Saturday just going around would be okay, but do you think you'd have a shot at winning Saturday also?
I kind of had a Saturday. I was skeptical Saturday because it was hot. It had gotten about 10 degrees hotter Saturday. We knew the track was not going to be as good as it was Friday. We really didn't have a lot of hot track data in our bag to fall back on. And I'm like, man, there's no way I can end up in the winner's circle twice in one weekend. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm just out there having fun and just doing my thing and making laps and again, we had some good chip draws to start us off, and we ended up being the last guy standing at the end of the night, and it was I still don't believe it. I think all of us were just in awe that that we ended up in the winner's circle twice, and that doesn't happen very often.
Was your son drawing chips again that night?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah, dude. He's going to draw chips for me from here on out. If there's chip draw, he's drawn until he shows me that he's bad at it, because he's good at it.
Yeah.
There's the proof.
Yep. You had this Facebook post with the 2 trophies and some cool pictures.
Yeah, that was fun. And the cool thing about the Street Car Takeover deal is it's like the throwdowns. There's a ton of spectators, people walking around. It's not like some of these races where they just it's light on spectator stuff. There's a lot. The stands were packed,
right?
Both nights, and just the atmosphere, being able to racing in front of a bunch of spectators and doing well it's awesome. You can't beat it.
Yeah. We had planned on going to this with Rodney's car, but made it last minute change and ended up going to Ozark. So
there was that same weekend was Throwdown, right? At Street Car Takeover, and also the same weekend at MoCan had that 10,000 to win with the Street Outlaws guys.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff going on for sure.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, we were all planning to go to this, but like Gary said, we set this weekend out and went to Ozark the next weekend, and because 3 weekends in a row is a lot, and so we just tried to do it that way. And like you were talking about with all the help and what it takes and what it keeps these cars going and stuff. And so that leads to my question. We've been watching you progress through these years, talking about 2008, 2010, and fast forward to now. A lot of people always talk about, oh, I remember when, and it was a lot funner back then. And where are you at with that? Do you like where it's at now with the speed and how things are going, or did you like it back in those Mako days, if you will?
That's a tough question.
That's a great question.
Dollar spent per measure of fun, I guess maybe you'd say. It was a lot. There's a lot better ratio back in those days. The cars are a lot more expensive. You're trying to keep up with cars that are a lot more a lot faster. So, but that's tough. I have a lot. Last year and so far this year has been more fun. This has been the most fun year I've had so far, racing in 20 years.
Yeah.
And I part of that is because the car's faster and it's, that's fun. But just like I was saying earlier, having the kids helping at the track and being, standing right there on the starting line and being involved in the, Bryce is involved with my tune-up every time. He's standing there telling me, turn it up, Dad, you're not turning it up enough, whatever.
Come on.
And that to me is
right there, Dad.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I've done a lot of this stuff myself forever since the beginning of my racing stuff. I've done a lot of it myself.
Right.
I'm a conservative tuner for the most part.
Sure.
So having somebody else poking me a little bit, saying, you don't have to be so conservative, or don't be so conservative, it's good for me. It's helped me out a few times. Wes at Show Me Speed, he and I have gotten together in the last year. He's helping me out a bunch.
Right.
And we just clicked together really good on the tuning stuff. I've got ideas, he's got ideas, and he knows when to be conservative and knows when to swing for the fences, and that's part of why we've gone. We went a 418 last year and a 107 60 foot. That I didn't think I'd ever go a 1.0 with a ladder bar car.
Yeah.
And this year, we've gone a 419 and 60 foot, still not quite there. So that was a 111. So that's just having a couple other people there to bounce stuff off of and on the tune-up has been cool.
Yeah, no doubt. Follow-up question too there, just sitting here for the last 2 hours watching your facial expressions, watching the pictures that come up. You're in the winner's circle 10, 15 times, and you got the most energy on that golf cart picture of your family. And so that says a lot about you and your crew and you're right too, as far as having that support on and off the track. And now that they're old enough to be there and be engaged and help, and who knows, maybe one of them will be driving one day. You just never know. And
well, we're having those conversations.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when and what car. The hard part about this car that I've got now is I can't put a 19-year-old kid in the seat and and turn it down enough to have someone get comfortable making laps in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wish that wasn't the case, but it is what it is right now. So we're probably going to end up with a different car that he can get his feet wet and figure out what it takes to start going fast, and then maybe put him in this car at some point. But
that makes sense. So we talked about it earlier too. So this is the question, just talking about your support on and off the track, your go-to people. I know you got people to help you business-wise or family. Just give you a few minutes here to just kind of thank everybody that gets you there.
Yeah, absolutely. That, like I was saying earlier, family, friends, having them at the track is 100% important to me. If it wasn't for my wife and her dragging the kids and being able to, her taking care of the kids while I'm racing and all that when they were little, I wouldn't be doing it. And if they couldn't come to the track now, I probably wouldn't do it. So that's number one. That I definitely have a lot of thanks for that. Gary, you're what would you say, 24 years with your wife tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll be 22 this year, this fall.
24
so,
plus 7.
Yeah. I'm 22 plus 4.5. So I applaud you. I'm jealous.
And that means you're a better trainer than I am.
Yes,
you're a faster trainer.
Let's go with that. I did a really good, expedient training job. Yeah.
You got a book on it.
Yeah. But yeah, family and friends. Without Daniel being able to come to the track with us all these years, I couldn't. There was a lot of times it was just me and Daniel at the track, and I wouldn't be able to race by myself without him. So a huge thanks to him for taking time off to come with us. You're awesome, dude. I appreciate you. Last 2 years, Sam at Redemption Motorsports has come on board to help us. He's awesome. All the guys at his shop are awesome. Chris Blackwell, JRB Racing Engine. He's that guy. He is the most meticulous person. If you ever need any engine work, he does a lot of LS stuff. He does cylinder heads. He's got a flow bench. He's super meticulous. He's very much like me. Like when I do stuff, I want to make sure, all the details are taken care of. Everything's been considered. He's probably a little more meticulous than I am, which is not something you always find in people doing engine stuff for you. And with how these engines are, they're expensive. You can't afford to have someone not paying attention to details. Chris is the guy. He's awesome. M&M Transmission, Mark and Maria, Mickey. That back in the Holly Springs days of 2012, when we first started going to Holly Springs, I had a power glide in there that I was basically taking apart and fixing every race.
Wow.
And I knew of Mark Mickey because he was a small tire badass guy. He raced the what was that series in
Clash of the Titans?
Clash of the Titans. Yep.
Yeah. He had that black 68 back then.
Yeah, he had a Pro Charge 68 back then, so I knew who he was. I reached out to Mark. He built me a 400. He's done my transmission converter stuff since 2012, and I don't have to touch the stuff. I mean, it's that is probably, I tell people that's probably the single best money I've spent on my racing program right there is the transmission and converter stuff. It's been awesome. So, and he's super awesome to me. He takes good care of my stuff. Troy and those guys, all those guys at M&M were awesome. Pro Charger, they always take care of my stuff. I don't have very many problems, but when I do, I can run it up to Kansas City. Sergio up there, I've known him for 15 years. He's awesome. He's a I'm a local KC guy. Pro Charger, they're local KC guys.
Right.
They've always taken good care of me, so really appreciate them. And then here just recently, Wes at Show Me Speed. I've for years I've taken a lot of pride in being able to work on the car myself, build the car. I've built this entire car, for the most part, with my own hands, tuning it, maintaining it, with help from some people, but by and large myself. And I just felt like I was a little behind the curve because I took a couple of years off racing, 2017 to 2022, 2021. And so last year I'm like, reached out to Wes. I've known Wes for several years, but had him start helping me at the track last year, and the car's turned around. I mean, we've gotten the consistency back I've been looking for, and it's it's not just one thing, but it's multiple little things here and there that you have another set of eyes, another guy that Wes is very meticulous as far as thinking through different things and trying different things. He works on different cars, so he's got a lot of good experience there. So just being able to have him standing next to me when I'm racing or tuning or whatever, he's been super, super awesome helping me out. He's been at the dyno with me a couple times, just making sure we switched to methanol beginning of last year. So methanol is not my thing. I've been, a gas guy for years. Wow. So I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to melt down a brand new motor. And he's been great helping me out with that. So can't thank Wes and Show Me Speed and those guys enough.
Yes.
So
a lot of great names there. A lot of great names.
Yes.
It takes a village. It takes a community, a team to do it. So
it does. Yeah, absolutely. I'm super fortunate to be able to do what we do for a hobby. Nobody's making money in this sport.
Right.
I wish you could say that, you got rich racing, but usually you start off rich and you end up poor. But you have a lot of fun in the process.
Sure.
So, it's worth it, but been fortunate to be doing this for the 20th year with this car. It's not the same, it's not the same car.
Is that
is
a helicopter in there?
It was either a bird or a June bug, one or the other.
Man.
But,
Very cool.
Rex Welder had a question for you. Is this your cousin, right, Rex?
yeah. What he's asking what horsepower?
Yeah. What horsepower is the new motor running at?
Yeah, so we dynoed it before the Street Car Takeover. I didn't really wanted to see how much we could squeeze out of it. I just wanted to make sure everything was safe on it, and it made 2505 at the hub. So it's making probably just shy of 3,000 at the flywheel. So
That's great power.
Man, it's a lot of power.
I mean, compared to these guys that with the twins that are making over 3,000, it's not as much, but you still got you still have the same tire, and everybody has to be able to use it. So.
Oh yeah, no, that's the game. Going A to B.
Yeah,
that's the game.
Yeah, I love the blower stuff. It's easy. Push the trans brake button, map the gas, and go. So.
Yep. Hey, you was talking about your son doing something with the car. Josh Gill says he's got some cars for you.
Oh, there you go.
He does. He usually has 3 or 4 cars that he's in between. Yeah.
He just picked one up the other day.
He just picked up another one.
Yeah. It's usually if he wants if he's got a Mustang that's fast, it usually has an LS motor in it too. There, Rodney.
Yeah. Travis Gore was watching. Travis was watching. What's up, guys? He says, "Cool."
Hey, Travis.
Yeah, Travis been out testing. He went out to Ozark over the weekend.
Yep.
Getting his stuff all lined up.
Yeah, his is looking good.
Yeah.
So one of his passes. His car was looking good at Street Car Takeover too. It was making some good passes. Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome. So your next outing, Mocan, coming up for the Clash, or
Mocan, Titans of 10-5.
Sorry,
Yep.
Clash.
Yep.
Titans
Yep,
of
that'll be
10-5.
fun.
We'll see you down there then. Gary and I plan on rolling up Friday.
Couple weeks.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Good fun. It's a good series. A lot of good people in it, and so far we have enjoyed it. The little racing we've done with them the last couple of years, year and a half. I know it's been going for 6 or 7 seasons now, but it's a good little series. For me, it kind of replaced Mako or that sort of thing. Clash of the Titans, it's kind of all the tracks are within 3 or 4 hours, if you will, for us. And so.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to race at Mocan again too. Now that they've made some really nice improvements in the pits and all that. That track has come a long ways. There was a day back in 2013, 2014 when we were racing the Mako. Well, 2012, 2013 we were racing the Mako stuff. I said to Daniel, I'm like, no one will ever go faster than 480 here at Mocan. It was bumpy or it was narrow, whatever. And we went at 20, 24, 25 there last fall.
There you go.
And other guys have gone 4 teens in hot summer nights last year.
Yeah.
So it's man, I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Heck yeah.
Hot summer nights this August. It's going to be fast. It'll be hot.
Yeah.
It'll be hot, but it'll be fast. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Wow.
All right. Yeah. How we looking, Gary?
Yeah, we're good. There was one comment from Chris Wilson. He said, enough of this. Where's the brains of this operation? Tara Freiberg Ondrick. It was so there she is.
All right.
There you go, Chris.
Heck yeah. Quite the setup at the pool table in the little lounge room. All right.
Yep.
Nice.
This is my man cave up here in the shop.
No, that's
awesome.
great. Once again, we appreciate you coming on. It's been a great time here. Get to know you a little bit better. Congratulations on your racing career, man. That's just, people will race all their career and never make the winner's circle, or even go to the track and have issues and stuff. So like you said, it takes a team and a community and you're doing well. And so congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Enjoyed chatting with you guys tonight. I appreciate the invitation and had a good time. And looking forward to racing with you guys here in a couple of weeks. And this season, I think 2025 that'll be a good season for us. So.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
You and I had talked at Ozark about bringing you on here, and I told Rodney, I said, hey, I talked to Craig about doing this, and you sounded, like it's not like you're down for the idea. And okay, we're gonna give him on sometime. And when it got to where we needed to find the next show, it's like, let's do Craig. He's hot off the Street Car Takeover double whammy, and this was easy, no brainer.
Yeah, great job. I don't know if you're nervous or anything, but you came off nice work.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Good talking to you guys.
Yeah.
And Chris said he knew she was coaching you.
Yeah. Has he got an earpiece in? Is that what's going on? Is she over there, on the two-way?
Yep.
Way to go, Chris.
Way to go. Cool.
Oh, that's great. All right. Man. We'll see you in a few weeks then. Unless you got anything else, Gary?
I don't. Just Mr. El Conquistador, thank you so much for your time, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Good. Enjoyed it.
All right. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.
See you, bud.
See you later.
Nice.
I know. Fun.
That was fun, man. And we get these guys on here and it always gets brought up. Mako, Vamp, that sort of stuff, a little bit of the Clash. I've been doing it for 20 plus years, watching these cars progress. And, he actually, kept this car this whole time, and kind of just, little changes. And,
it went through an amazing transformation from big tire bracket car to the beast that it is now, man.
Yeah, exactly. And
he did all the work, himself.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I was talking to Jason Flowers about this yesterday, and this kind of hits on this. You just said it, he does all the work himself, and so he's had this car that he's progressed along. And so here's a question to you: do you think that you'll have more success, if you keep that car and keep progressing, do the work, get help where you can and need, but you kind of know the car inside out, you've had it for 20 years, you think you have more success that way? What's your thought on that?
I think that's I would think that's a key to the success.
Mm-hmm.
Is having the same piece you're working on. You know it more, the ins and outs.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty important key.
I do too, especially on like race day. If something happens and all of a sudden something ain't working, well, if you wired the car, you can kind of know where everything's at. And that sort of thing. If you built,
I know where all 10 of my yellow wires are. I know the 10 different items they're controlling.
Oh, love it.
Or blue or orange or whatever.
Yeah.
There's only
Good
so many
show.
colors.
Yeah. Good show. And look at Wes, he agrees as well, and it's just good stuff. I think that makes you a better racer,
Yeah.
But cool. Well, you want to bring our partners in and show us some YouTube?
Give them a shout. Thanks to these awesome partners: Mid-America Dragway, Ultra Color Collision Repair, Mobile Recon Mobile Detailing, Titans of 10.5, the fastest small tire series in the Midwest. We'll be racing with them in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Sandland Iron and Metal Auto Salvage, and Harry Street Carpet. Thanks to these awesome partners that are hanging out with us and racing with us in 2025.
Nice.
And let's toss up our YouTube Heads Up Racing Gary and Hot Rod podcast. This is our YouTube channel. If you see this, you're in the right place. Subscribe, comment, whatever you got to do. And this is my YouTube channel, Gary Putnam Racing, Welding and Fabrication. Always some kind of weird, cool, fun stuff happening there. So just a shout out. Just shout out to me.
There you go. And you got some good action on there too. I like watching those videos of you're always making that winch, doing the crane above. So
I can show you that right there. It is. You can kind of see it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Point right there. There's
above the garage.
It's operational. It works.
Well, now you're ready to get your motor. You got your little hoist in and you can get it done.
Yeah. Now I can tell Mark, go ahead and finish it. Now I can unload it when I get it. Yeah. I'll put it to use. It'll be for sure handy, no doubt. And it didn't cost a lot.
Mocan, and just going out to Kid kind of got me fired up. Just watching and hanging out and helping Dave with the Chevelle and stuff. But I'm excited for that. We got our room ready, and we'll just.
And Dave's going to Mocan too, right?
Say again.
Dave's coming along to Mocan also,
yeah,
right?
He is. He is. Actually, during the show, he was texting me and that sort of thing. I had a couple of questions, but I'm looking forward to that. And like that little series. So great work tonight, Gary. Great pictures, putting that together as always. And it was just good seeing that progress and meeting him, learning a little bit more about him and his whole family. Got a great team.
Oh, that's awesome. Great racer. So he's a really talented guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Cool. I think that's all we got. No comments, no more pictures.
All right. Well, we'll call tonight. It was a good run. We'll come back. Yeah. He had a lot of good stories, a lot of good pictures, when you make the winner circle.
What's I guess I can see the comment right there. It's kind of small. Wes says, hurry up with that LS. We have Fords to put on the trailer.
There you go. See, he needs backup, needs support, Gary. You got to get that thing rolling.
Gonna need
myself, Ross. Hopefully Spaniak will be ready in a few weeks, and we can keep taking him down. He just took home that money at Ozark. You know what I mean? And Arc City as well. He won that one too, right? Am I thinking right? So yeah. Well, there we go. With old Wes. Yeah. Be the man. You got to beat the man. Remember that.
Wes, I might need your help hopping it up to chase them Fords.
There you go, up arrow.
Oh man.
Yeah. Cool,
Doug Perry says, great show, guys. Thanks, Doug. Thanks for hanging out. Hope we see your car here pretty soon too.
Yeah.
Tim Alt says, check your messages, Rodney.
All right. I'll check them out.
Cool.
Super spy photo stuff here.
Uh-oh. Oh, I wonder what he sent you. That's hard to say.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
ready? Hit the right button here. All right. You ready?
Yep.
Boom.
Nice.
Cool. Hi, Brad. Thanks for your time.
Right. We'll see everybody next time.
Next weekend is the weekend before. So next Sunday is the weekend before we go to Mocan. So
yeah. Reach out to Larry now and get that thing pumped up.
Get a little pre-show happening with him guys.
Yeah.
They're always down.
Bacon and waffles and eggs.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the Martins are on Rocky Mountain Race Week, so they're still going to be tired a week later, I bet.
I bet so.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right. You ready to rip on out?
Let's do it, bud. Have a good night.
Okay. Everybody, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next week with somebody. Larry and Al and whatever else we come up with. If Larry and Al do it, I'm sure they will. All right. Good night, Rod.
See you, bud.